Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tyche Talks. It is a LinkedIn Live that I have every other week on mostly on Tuesdays, sometimes other days, but it's on Tuesdays. I'm Lauren Young Durbin, career clarity coach. And every other week on Tyche Talks, I have experts on different topics come on and talk about what they know, share their experiences, give tips. So if you guys have questions on today's topic, be sure to put in the comment box and I'll ask Marty as we go along. So I love telling people about my so Marti Konstant is a workplace futurist, keynote speaker, AI trainer, inventor of the category Career Agility, and a best-selling author of Activate Your Agile Career. She has an MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business and is a former technology executive who has worked in Silicon Valley. As a top career influencer, inventor of the term, oh, Aigility? Am I saying that right?
Correct. And we can talk about that.
Yeah. And a top 50 future of work influencer. She has been featured in media outlets such as NBC Chicago, Forbes, and the Muse. And she's worked with companies such as Samsung, Dow Jones, and Apple. She's currently a director in agility and communications at NextColabs. She is an expert in applying agile principles to individual and workplace development. Join me in giving Marty a round of applause. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
Yay.
And I know you have questions.
Yes, I always have questions. So why don't we just jump into it? Can you explain what you mean by career agility and then AI agility?
Sure, sure. I came up with the term in 2012
Wow.
for career agility. And so before I give you the definition of career agility, I noticed in 2012 when I was working with tech companies in the
Mhm.
role of marketing, that those that developed product and designed product and engineered product were working with something called agile principles. And in
Mhm.
2012, I thought, why can't we apply this concept of agile to the management of one's own career? I saw them doing things and working with one another where they collaborated on a daily basis. They made adjustments on a daily basis to product sets, product adjustments. And that way, their product and software as a service offerings were always up to current standards, and they were always current. And I thought this really relates to the management of one's own career. And so
Yes.
I took a page out of the book of the agile software development movement and created a definition. And career agility is a self-reflective, incremental career guided by response to change, evolving job roles, and designed to optimize creativity, growth, and happiness. And there was a whole
Love
career
it.
agility model that was built around that, helping people as you do, Lauren. You help people clarify their careers, help them make those adjustments. This model helps people to think about their careers in a way that is more future proof to the vast amounts of change that are happening.
Mhm. So how would you explain or define, I'm gonna try it again for the third time. Aology. Am I saying it correct? You say it. I
Yeah,
was
uh, because career agility is so dependent upon an agile mindset. So if you're not
Mhm.
open to the future, you're not open to making those adjustments, you're not open to seeing the trends of what's out there so that you can say, does this fit me? Can I stay in the role I'm in? Do I need to think about working in another department or another role? And I thought, well, with this rollout of AI, now AI has been around for dozens of years, but
Yes.
most of us, we didn't really understand it until November 30th, 2022. That was the launch of ChatGPT. And
Oh,
yeah, so
back in that day.
using it for everything and testing it, and you just saw it everywhere on LinkedIn, and it's going to change the world, and it has changed the world much the same way that the internet did.
Mm.
And I like making definitions. I like creating a word or a phrase that makes sense. And AI agility is really, it's a curious mindset guided by response to change, technology adoption, and using AI as your thought partner,
Mm.
and
So
multiplying your time and impact with responsible and ethical AI. This is not a free for all to just do anything you want, deep fakes, all that, and make embarrassing situations worse. This is not to mess with the world order. This is to
yeah,
augment what we're doing well.
yeah, I think when you were saying it's been around for a while, it was like Hal, was it Space Games of Matthew Broderick? It's like way back in the 80s. And I'm like, yeah, that's HAL. I forgot what HAL stood for, but yeah, it goes back. We just don't think about it. It wasn't something that was used by regular schmegular people. Like,
Yeah, I mean, seriously, when did 2001 Space Odyssey come out? Like 19, I should know this at the top of my head, but let's just say for the sake of example, it was 70s or 80s,
yeah,
right? So it
yeah, I
was
think it was
a
late
long time
70s.
ago, and Hal, the robot, really was an AI that didn't like the decisions that were being made by the
Mhm.
astronauts.
Yeah,
And so he decided he was going to take over the ship.
yeah. It's where that phrase, would you like to play a game?
Exactly, exactly.
No, Hal.
It's funny how a film like that can have such cult status.
Yeah. I mean, because I think even back then, we all think about like at the time, I was probably playing Oregon Trail. So computers were really starting to get into classrooms more. So we can kind of say, oh, well, I can kind of see that. We're further along in technology than we had probably ever thought we would be, except for the little flying flying cars and that kind of stuff. But so what would you say is biggest misconceptions about AI and AI's impact on career agility?
I would say the biggest misconception about, say, let's just start with career agility, is
Mhm.
that some people think, oh, that's behavior. I'm going to job hop. I don't like this. I'm going to hop to the next one. Couldn't
Mhm.
be further from the truth. It's very much like your style of career coaching. It's actually helping people to understand who they are, what they're really good at, what no longer serves them, what do they need to do in their current role or another role. And sometimes they stay with the same company for 15 years, but they're evolving within the organization. So that's really the biggest misconception about what career agility means. Career agility is very intentional movement that relies on three things. It relies on, I call it the DNA. It's really noticing what's happening around you. That's the N in it. And it's willing to disrupt the current model. It's the D in it, and challenge those assumptions. So disrupt the current model, notice what is happening, and then take action. Be willing, be brave to make a change. I'm sure you've worked with people where change can be difficult.
And it's scary. So let's go back to the D part. What do you mean by that? Because that sounds more like, and I guess where it originally came from, the tech world. So in terms of someone's personal career, how would that, what's an example of that?
Yeah, so there's a book out called Disrupt Yourself. And
Mhm.
what it does is to me, it takes the concept of agility and really turns it to your internal development. So in order to become the person that you want to be in the next 6 months, 6 days, a year, you need to be willing to disrupt your current assumptions and your biases about what you think is so. And that's why in the definition of Aigility, I use the curious mindset in there. If you're not curious, you're not going to be able to fix what's not working, and you're not going to be able to find the stuff that is really going to be a big part of your future, or the stuff that makes you happy. So that's where
It looks, oh,
that's
sorry.
that you have to challenge what you've always, well, all the truths that you thought were true.
Yes.
With AI right now, all of those assumptions have been turned upside down.
It looks like we got an answer from Amy Marie Gray that the space policy this is 2001.
Those,
It came out in 1968.
oh my God.
So got the answer.
Okay, 68. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I usually,
Thank-
doing a podcast, I usually try to, do some prep and look at important things, but, I didn't know we were going to be talking about 2001, but a lot of times I try to figure, things out and be able to pull them up.
Yeah, I had no idea it was that early. Okay, so how does one start? So I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to shake things up. So how do you start? Because a lot of times, I know one of the things I run into is that people aren't conscious of their beliefs that they're that's holding them back.
Right. And you probably get a lot of this in the career coaching business. There's a little bit of resistance
Yeah.
that goes on, and then there's just a lack of awareness. And in order to develop a brand, which we all have to do in our careers, you have to know yourself super well. And you have to be willing to look at the things that aren't that perfect, get feedback on what's working and what isn't. And in order to adopt something that feels a little bit uncomfortable. And let's just use AI as an example. A lot of people, I ran into a woman a few weeks ago and said, Marti, I hate AI. And I said, oh,
Okay.
why do you feel that way? Instead of like, getting, concerned, I just said, why do you feel that way? And she says, well, they did some automated stuff on a website. And she went on with a couple examples. And I said, have you ever used it? And she said, well, no, not really. And I said, well, you run a business, and there might be some useful marketing techniques and business management techniques that could save you 2 to 5 hours a week. And you might be able to come up with some creative ideas with the creative assistant called AI that you wouldn't ordinarily have to do. So I gave her an example about taking this podcast or taking this LinkedIn Live. If it's going to be anywhere on YouTube, you're going to have access to a transcript. You can throw it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give you a summary of this half-hour meeting. What were the key themes? What were the statements? What does it say about AI? What are the good and the bads of AI? And so you can query it like that. And so I gave her that example, just the basic summary example of 100-page research papers or 100-page market research papers that can be summarized easily so she can apply them to her business. And I thought about it, and she said, well, I think you need to lead with that. I think if you're going to talk about AI, you can't say AI. You have to say AI. I'm doing a presentation tomorrow. It's called AI for what? And so it's not just AI for blindly using AI because it's cool or you save time. It's what's the purpose of it? And the second part of that is AI for what is AI for practical business applications. The sooner you can get, or practical career job search applications, practical career development situations. So you take it to all of the different areas that you apply it to, and you get the application and you say such as, I just gave the summary of a podcast, and then out of the podcast, you could create an instruction guide for one of the seminars that you're going to put out.
Yeah.
And you could create 25 blog posts or Instagram posts, whatever it is that you could do that would make your life easier and more creative. And if you threw it into a text to image generator, you could also come up with images, or go to Canva and automate it that way.
Yeah. Love Canva.
I
Amy, sorry, go ahead.
Canva's a good one.
Amy is on the ball. She said Oregon Trail came out in 1971, and these are the touchstones. I played it at Holly Elementary School in mid 80s or so. But I was always dying dysentery, so I didn't get very far. That's pretty true to life. I don't think I would make it across.
Yeah.
I needed glamping 1800 style.
So we have to ask Amy, since she's commented a couple times, how often do you use AI, Amy? Is AI something that you use 2 times a day, 10 times a day, 50 times a week, or not much?
Yeah. Or do you use it at all? How do
Right.
you think it could be used?
Right.
Now, let's hear your thoughts, Amy. We see you out there. We see you. So, okay, so I'm gonna ask you, so with the woman you use as an example, she said, I hate AI. So I guess my question again is like, is that where you start like examining like what are my feelings towards AI? Do I feel threatened? Do I feel excited? How do I see it? Is it a tool? Is that where you would start in terms of changing the way you think about it?
It's interesting you should ask that. In the early days, around late 2022 and 2023, many of us would have just gone into all of the great ideas about what AI can do for you. However, it's not being responsible if we don't understand the ethical considerations that people have, the legal considerations that people have. I often bring out the elephant in the room before we even start. And so when I'm doing a presentation to get people to start, is to say, now we could have an ethics and compliance presentation today, and it would be an hour long. That's not the presentation of today. However, let's acknowledge that these are issues, there are misuses. And then I usually refer to the internet. I said there were just as many concerns when the internet, and we called it e-business, and websites and e-commerce were coming out. People were very concerned. So just the same kind of concerns. Now, AI is a little bit more intense because we have images of AI taking over and making decisions for us.
Yeah.
The internet did not quite make decisions for us. They could, if there was a good script in the background of a website, decisions were made. Google's been making decisions by serving, and Amazon serving up ads. They make all kinds of decisions for us, and they make assumptions about our behavior, and we don't really get a choice in that. So we've actually, it's not the same as AI, but there are very similar concerns that people have then. So I get that out of the way, and then ask people if they are interested in learning about how AI could be a practical use for their business. And typically we go into an exercise, and I did this recently with job seekers. I ran through Perplexity. It's a research tool. It's called the Answer Engine. It's also an LLM, learning language model. And we did a workshop hands-on. And at the end of the workshop, people were so excited because I showed them how to research a company, how to find out who the competition was, I help them to analyze how many people on LinkedIn work in that industry in a particular title. Now, I wasn't inside LinkedIn when I did this. I was actually in Perplexity. And what's cool about the Perplexity engine, it actually works off of the internet. Not that everything on the internet is correct, but it works off the internet and databases that make sense. It doesn't make anything up. That's why I call it the answer engine. It's not the same as ChatGPT. It doesn't hallucinate in the same way. So I usually work with job seekers there and show them how to get, good summaries. They even help, write email outreach for networking on LinkedIn. And once they finish with a few exercises, there isn't a person on the call now that is upset about AI. They get it, they see it, and they can determine whether or not they're going to use it in their lives. I mean, I always tell them the skills that got you here won't get you there.
Yeah. So Amy answered our question. She says she doesn't use AI, but my job seekers are asking about it. So that was actually a really good preview, what you said before, into because I have a lot of clients asking about AIs. Usually they worry about it and like, how do I use it and that kind of thing. So I want to thank you for coming. And how can people learn more about you, get in touch with you?
LinkedIn is my platform. I'm the only Marti Konstant, Marti with an I, Constant with a K. I'm the only Marti
Yes.
Konstant in the world, and I've got about 30,000 people that subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletter. And these are some of the topics that I talk about. And I would say in the last 6 months, I've migrated almost exclusively to practical AI solutions for humans.
Marti with an I, Constant with a K. And you guys can also check out her book too, Activating Your Agile Career. And it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
That's where I got mine. So and it's Amazon Prime Day, so you can go to Amazon
We're
and
in the
get it.
middle, we're in the middle of an Amazon, event,
Yeah.
right?
And
Every 5 days.
and if you have Kindle, it's 3 points day if you buy it online. For I mean, just Kindle books in general, but you can buy this book online, you get 3 times the points. So thank you, Marty, again for coming on Tyche Talks. And I learned so much, and I'm really excited to get into your book and read the future books that you may have. So speaking of books, next week there isn't a Tyche Talk, but it's a continuation of my book review, the Tyche book review series. This will be the second part two of Think Like a Breadwinner by Jennifer Barrett. So I'll see you guys next week, same time, 2 o'clock. Oh, sorry, not 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern time on LinkedIn. And I'll see you all there. And again, thank you so much, Marty, for
Thanks,
taking the
Laura.
time and helping us learn so much from you.
Okay, take care. Have a good one.